Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. I'm in a good mood. I'm giddy. I just want to share that with you on the front end. I am giddy. You want to know why I'm giddy? Or as Sharpton would say, jitty. Get jitty with it. Know what he said? Get jitty. I'm giddy because I'm loving seeing leftism play out the way we all know it plays out. It's reckless. It's dangerous. Look, I don't know how many different things what have we talked about this week already? We talked about California letting people that have HIV knowingly have sexual relations and not tell somebody I have HIV. Now, I mean, protected sex, blah, blah, blah. The fact is not alerting somebody to that. And they downplay it. It's no big, come on, it's not what it used to be. Really? I mean, that's pretty sorry. We've got, look, there's just so many things going on. It's crazy. The NFLers taking a knee, these multimillionaires taking knees, and on and on. And of course, it's amazing to me that Harvey Weinstein actually kicked the Vegas shooter out of the news cycle. That's huge. You know, you guys have heard me talk about Harvey Weinstein because I'm telling you, it's a huge deal. When Hollywood, the leftist establishment has to really take a glaring look at itself and they watch the spiral, the death spiral that occurs, this is dramatic. See, normally Hollywood and leftists get to just drive by a problem. They go, oh, hey, black people, look, there's cops killing you. They throw something out the window and they keep on cruising down the road, man. You know, like bank robbers. They take a bundle of cash and go, and then they just keep driving because they don't care. They don't care how many wrecks occurred in the back. Nothing. With this problem with Harvey Weinstein, they're forced to look at it. It encompasses so many things. You follow? Let me give you an example. The war on women that we conservative men have been accused of. I know there's ladies listening too, but I'm talking to the guys right now. We conservative men have been accused of having a war on women. I've argued if there's any war on women, it's been a war of leftist men on women. First of all, they don't even know if they've got a guy. They don't even know if they're dealing with men. I'll give you an example. Jason Collins, gay basketball player who was engaged to a volleyball chick, good-looking white girl. Jason Collins comes out and says he's gay. Now, he's engaged to this chick, and he's gay. And they come out and say the dude is a hero. It took courage and all this. So this girl is expecting to marry a full-fledged dude, and she's got a half dude. And Barack Obama, half black Barack Obama, comes out and praises Jason for his courage. I would be absolutely chastising Jason for his cowardice. Why didn't you tell this woman you were bisexual? Oh, gay. He's gay. He's like, I just been fooling around. I've been experimenting with her. But that's the way the left is. They toy with you, and then they want to become heroes. So, perfect example. In Hollywood, women don't even know that they have men. First of all, so there's a problem. Then when they do have men, you know what those men do? They take advantage of the women. But they want to say, you guys, we conservative men, we're the mean guys. We're the guys that open the doors for ladies. Here's the deal. This is the door test. Open a door for a woman that you maybe haven't, I'm just saying, if you want to really understand who she is, open a door for a woman. Just, kindly do that. And if she looks at you like, why are you opening the door for me? You got a feminist, get out of there. Don't even go on a date. But if you open the door for her and she's like, thank you, you're welcome. Then you know, hey, you may have a keeper. There's other tests, but that's a start. So look, my point is, we are amazing towards women. We look at women and we say to ourselves, you know what? If the cake hits the fan, I'll take care of it. I'll do it. Get one of these metrosexual pansies that these leftist chicks date and see if when the cake hits the fan, what's going on. When the cake hits the fan, you can bet that metrosexual is behind the fan. He's not going to be in front of it. Yeah, no way. So look, they have to deal with Harvey Weinstein and the fallout of this because it's a death spiral for them. They have to look at feminism, right? The war on women. Harvey has been a massacre. It's the Hollywood massacre is what I've deemed it. It's the Hollywood massacre because Harvey Weinstein for decades has been doing this to women. That would be one thing, right? If it was like a well-kept secret and Harvey was, it just came out that Harvey, oh my gosh, I had no idea that Harvey was doing whatever. In Hollywood, they knew exactly what was going on with Harvey and all of them covered it up. But what's funny to watch now, because we've talked about all of this, this is recap, all right? What's funny about this to me, the most funny, is that they all know it, and so they're all abandoning Harvey now. Suddenly, Harvey is persona non grata. You should go back and look at the clips and the films of these people lavishing praise on Harvey. Played Michelle Obama talking about Harvey, all this could not be possible, which is always a lie. If it weren't for so-and-so, this couldn't be possible. Bull. If it weren't for so-and-so, you would have found somebody else. You got Harvey because Harvey was an easy touch. And you know why Harvey was an easy touch? Because he needed that cover for everything he was doing. This is huge, folks. This is rifling through Hollywood. I don't think you get it. But it's not just rifling through Hollywood. It's rifling through the political community. It's rifling through leftism in general. Harvey Weinstein, he's probably done as much to take down leftism as Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton because now it's pop culture. It's totally pop culture. It's everybody going, man, he knew that. Let me tell you, brothers on the street are talking about, man, you know that dude was doing, man, he been doing that for dude, come on now, right? They are, people can talk about this and they can talk about it knowing, here it comes, he's tied to the left. There's no connection between him and Trump. You can talk about Donald Trump grabbing a woman by the womp womp, but you talk about Harvey and suddenly you got story after story after story. And let me tell you something. The stories have not broken about this man. You think you know about him. You're about to find out. This is like the WikiLeaks, if you will, of Hollywood, except I think it was his brother who did it. So we're going to be covering this for a while. More to talk about. You're listening to the Kevin Jackson Show.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's Kevin Jackson Show. I'm in a feisty mood today. I'm not going to lie. Lots going on. Jamil Hills, I think that's her name. She's trying to go after Jerry Jones. There's so many things going on, and so many things I'm going to talk to you about today. Crazy stuff. Bill Maher's going to be on the show. His clip will be on the show. I wouldn't have Bill Maher on the show. Well, I would, actually. I'd love to debate Bill Maher. I would torch that fool. I would love to debate him. But, it'll probably never happen because he does not have the male genitalia to do that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, look, whitewashing history and Harvey Weinstein. I got to cover this because a big-time Politico is in the news because of Harvey Weinstein. I'm not talking about Bill Clinton. Yeah, and Jeffrey Epstein and Rape Island or whatever they call it. What do they call that island where they take all those young girls? Anyway, I'm not talking about Bill Clinton. Harvey Weinstein is a nuclear bomb right now in Hollywood that went off. Yeah, a dirty bomb. He is. His name is now being removed from a TV series that his company produced. And it's funny to watch leftists. Listen, what do we do? How do we fix this? Let's take his name off of the TV show. Let me tell you, go take Harvey Weinstein's name off of all the things that he did. It's like tearing down their monuments. You know what I'm saying? That's the equivalent of them tearing down their own monuments. They're like, we ain't putting that up. That's worse than the Civil War, people. I only wish they'd built statues of this man right now. Goodness gracious. They would have had this dude on Mount Rushmore knowing he's a sexual predator. Knowing this. So they're tearing down his monuments, taking his name off of his shows and things like this. 1,400 people, if you believe Meryl Streep, she says in 2015 when she was accepting an award, over 1,400 people have praised Harvey Weinstein. Let's just call him God or whatever. Where's your God now? I asked this the other day. Where's your God now? See, that's the problem with the God of leftism. The gods of leftism will let you down. That's the deal. They have criticized our God many, many, many times, right? They've criticized him. You know what our God does? He chuckles because he has never let us down. Not once. Even when you believe that he has, there's a bigger picture in it for you. Look, I'm not getting all preachy. I'm just letting you know they make their gods. Barack Obama. What was Barack Obama? What did Jamie Foxx call Barack Obama? Our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama. We have the clip. We play it periodically. What did their God do for them? He let them down. They don't want to worship something that's bigger than they. They want to worship the little man, the guy who's completely fallible, who is nothing but a freaking fraud. And that's what Harvey Weinstein is, that Meryl Streep called God. And you know why she called him God? Because in order to do anything big time in Hollywood, Weinstein's involved. How do you get away with what he did for that many years with that many people knowing? And I said in the previous segment, you haven't even begun to see all the things that Harvey Weinstein did. Now that he's no longer the guy that holds the key to the kingdom, you're going to watch stars come out. You're going to watch girls who could have made it but got traumatized. You're going to see it all. And Hollywood's going to pretend they care. They're going to go, oh my gosh, we just didn't know. And that Harvey, and they're going to try to make movies about it. And you're going to see all kinds of PSAs. If you're ever attacked by sexual harassment, let us know. Don't stand for sexual harassment. It'll never be good enough. Blah, blah, blah. The PSAs, you're going to have Matt Damon going, coming out with his kind of sultry, hey, I've got daughters. And my daughters, I don't want my daughters to ever have to go through sexual harassment. Ben Affleck will be right there with him. He's sexually harassing maids and I don't know, whoever. All of them. They all have stories. Every one of these people starts out as an ordinary dude. I remember when Matt Damon made Courage Under Fire, and he played a heroin addict. And he was lucky to get the role. And now he's big time. Let me tell you something. All these fools are doing things that they can they can do anything they want. It's Caligula over in that joint. It's Sodom and Gomorrah being ruled by Caligula in Hollywood. And all these people can do whatever the heck they want because it is freak central. And nobody wants to tell because they all want that break. So they want Weinstein's name removed from everything, as if that's going to do it. Because guess what? It's the same people that allowed it to happen, and they know it's happening elsewhere. So they'll put a little spotlight on it for a while, and then it'll be gone. But here's what's funny. Donna Brazile deleted a tweet praising Weinstein, and I saw that, and I was like, well, what was that about? And here's what it is. This is from the Daily Caller. Here's what she put. The Weinstein Company has taken the lead against sexual harassment and assault. She tweeted Sunday after the board announced they were ousting Harvey Weinstein. So after the foxes left the hen house, she says, they've taken the lead in dealing with sexual harassment. Donna, just out of curiosity, keep in mind, one day of taking the lead does not erase 30 years of allowing it. That's how they think. So she deleted it. Oh my gosh. Too funny. Here's what the Daily Caller finished. They said the tweet was baffling to many as Weinstein was only terminated after the New York Times published a report revealing that there were decades of previously undisclosed sexual abuse allegations against Weinstein. Weinstein also reportedly reached settlement with many of his accusers, exchanging large sums of money for non-disclosure agreements. Twitter mocked Brazile for her tweet, arguing that it is unlikely the Weinstein Company was oblivious about the many accusations before the NYT report. She finally deleted her tweet on Monday after being relentlessly ridiculed. I just want you to understand, folks, Donna Brazile has been a mainstay in Democrat politics for decades. She is the modern day Barbara Jordan. Okay? They revere this woman. This is the woman that gave the questions to the debate to Hillary Clinton in advance. This is when she was DNC chair. Okay? This is a woman who is crooked as the day is long. This is a woman who's got the intellect of a snail. And they revere her. And this is what she published on the heels of Weinstein. It doesn't even dawn on her how stupid this tweet is that she's about to put out in the Twitter sphere, and everybody's going to have it, forever. And she doesn't. So she thinks because she took it off, it erases her stupidity. This is what we're dealing with, people. Folks that are so obtuse, they don't know right from wrong. And that's why this Harvey thing is so important. Look, I'm going to jump off this for a minute, but I just want to make sure you understand this is a big deal.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Be still, my heart. This next story is hysterical on so many levels. We're going to spend a little time talking about this story. Yeah. See, what it turns out. By the way, welcome to the Kevin Jackson Show. We got to do a little housekeeping. If you want to call the show, 844-551-8255. You can get this show on demand anytime you want. And I promise you, this segment, you're going to want to get on demand. Just go to kjradio.com. Look, a firefighter who's new, he just got out of firefighting school. He gets assigned in Detroit to a firefighting, location, a firehouse. And they every year, when you're a new guy, it's not a requirement, but you can, they want you to bring a gift to the fire station. So this white dude decides he's going to bring a watermelon with a little bow on it. and all hell breaks loose. So I'm going to let you listen to the clip, and then we got to dissect this. This is a funny story. Check it out.
A firefighter new to the job makes a major faux pas while getting to know his new colleagues.
What he says was a gesture of goodwill was not received that way at all. Fox 2's Taryn Asher here now to explain why some people were so offended. Taryn.
Well, Robert Pattison had just completed the firefighter training academy. He was set to work at Detroit's Engine 55. He says he brought a watermelon with a pink bow to introduce himself to the crew as a nice gesture. But it certainly wasn't taken that way. Fired before he officially started. Last Monday, 41-year-old Robert Pattison went to introduce himself to his fellow firefighters at Engine 55 at Joy and Southfield in Detroit. 2nd Battalion Chief Sean McCarty calls it a tradition for firefighters.
It's not mandatory, it's voluntary. You come in, you bearing gifts. You might bring some. The usual gift is donuts. Okay. But you're allowed to bring in whatever you want to bring in.
And Pattison, a probationary firefighter, decided to bring this watermelon with a pink ribbon on top. We're told some African-American firefighters were instantly offended, since 90% of the people who work at Engine 55 are black.
When you get your first detail to a firehouse, you know pretty much what you're getting yourself into. So I would have to say, it was probably a bad call.
Is it racially insensitive to bring a watermelon into a firehouse?
To some people.
I spoke to Pattison by phone, who claims it was not a joke and he did not mean to offend his fellow firefighters. But he clearly did. Fire Commissioner Eric Jones says the Fenton native was officially discharged.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Be still my heart. Firefighter brings me some watermelon. I'm just like, hey, way to go. Way to go. Look, let me tell you, this is, you know why this cracks me up? Because when I was in electronics, I had a rep firm, and distributors would want you to come by periodically and say hello. And it became the standard practice to go by and bring a couple of boxes of donuts, and, people would, hey, thanks, Kevin, good to see you. You chit-chat a little bit. Well, suddenly that was no longer in vogue to do that, because we got on this health kick. So everybody stopped bringing donuts, and they started bringing fruit baskets. And it was generally these, what they call it, like edible arrangements kind of thing. Or if somebody got, like, you wanted to reward someone, you would no longer send a bottle of wine, or you wouldn't send a cookie thing or whatever. You would send edible fruits, which I happen to really enjoy. I think they're very cool things to have people check out. So, in fact, ironically, I got an edible fruit basket yesterday because I did a radio hit for a show and they loved it. So the lady called me up and says, Kevin, we want to send you a gift. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I give them my address. They send me an edible fruit thing. And but the funny thing about it was, with the edible fruits, it's got cantaloupe and kiwi, and it looks like a flower arrangement, and they've cut the fruit in these strange things. And of course, it had watermelon, and I was immediately offended that there wasn't more watermelon. Are you kidding me? Anyway, this story cracks me up on so many levels. How do you fire someone for bringing watermelon to your workplace? If the let me put it, if the watermelon had been sliced and diced, would they have fired him? I don't think so. If he was a black dude who brought the watermelon to the fire station, would they have fired him? I don't believe so. Why are we firing people over watermelon? First day of work, shows up with a gift, and it's a watermelon in there. Well, people was offended. Really? Here's what the fire commissioner, Eric Jones, said. There is zero tolerance for discriminatory behavior inside the Detroit Fire Department. Okay, I'm with you. Good. So what's this got to do with the watermelon? Unbelievable. And here's what he continues with. On Saturday, September 30th, 2017, at Engine 55, a trial firefighter, probationary employee, engaged in unsatisfactory work behavior, which was deemed offensive and racially insensitive to the members of the Detroit Fire Department. Okay. After a thorough investigation, it was determined the best course of action was to terminate the employment of this probationary employee. Let me tell you guys something. This is a cabal. This is a bunch of black dudes that got together that said, let's make this a racial incident. Let's get rid of this white boy. The next person they send over will be another brother. That's what this is about. They can whitewash this, pardon the pun, all they want. That's what this is. Fired. Grown men offended by a watermelon. I'll admit, I'm not easily offended. But I do know this. If you brought a watermelon with a bow on, the first thing I would do is crack up. I would be like, white boy, you got some, that's funny. Now, it isn't because I believe black people own the watermelon. We don't own the watermelon. And I asked this very simple question. If the watermelon is so racist, why do they sell them at the supermarket? Because everywhere I go, the watermelon is there. And it's there. There's the little bitty ones. I don't even know. What do you call those little bit? What do they call those little bitty ones? Mini melons? They're like the size of they're bigger than a grape. They're like the size of a honeydew. They're not that big. And to be honest with you, I don't buy them because I don't think there's enough inside of, and they're not cheap. Little suckers are at least half the price of a full watermelon, and they're a third. So I'm looking at the value going, this brother knows how to pick a watermelon, and I'm going to pick a big one. I'm not taking one of these little bitty melons. I went to melon school. Yeah. So anyway, how can you sell such a racist? That's like the Confederate flag, isn't it? The new Confederate flag is the watermelon. I'm telling you, I cannot believe that we are discussing this at this day and time. Can white people buy watermelons? Can white people eat watermelons? If people were offended, is really firing the dude a course of action? There's so many questions that beg. God, this is one of the most interesting stories on so many levels, because here's the deal. First of all, black folks do not own the watermelon, because if I knew this, I would go into a grocery store about, once every week, and I'd just go in there, grab me a watermelon, and walk out. I just would, and dare somebody to stop me. Moreover, if I saw white people buying a watermelon, I would accuse them of being slave owners. I would go, oh, I see. You're buying a watermelon. You must not understand the oppression that melon represents. And I would go totally Malcolm X on their butts. Because why not? They're just going to be like all scared and put it back. I go, oh, no, you cannot put it back. You purchase it and you give it to the nearest black man. You can give it to me. I will take this off your hands. By the way, speaking of which, we have a certificate of forgiveness that you can buy, which will allow you to go out and purchase as many watermelons as you want, take them to as many firehouses as you choose, and as soon as this guy could have used the certificate of forgiveness. His name is Patterson. He could have used a certificate of forgiveness. Go to syndicated.com. I'm not kidding. People think this is a gag gift. It's not a gag gift. It will exonerate you from your race. Anybody accusing you of being a racist. Go to syndicated.com and get it. And authentic black man, I absolve you of any guilty feelings. This would have come in handy for this man. And if you don't need one for yourself, get one for your liberal cousin or your liberal uncle or your liberal, sister-in-law. Trust me, they need it. They feel guilty. Certificateofforgiveness.com. I still want to cover more about this fireman. And I want to talk about the implications of taking a watermelon to work. Bring your watermelon to work day. What if they had something like that? What would he do? Could he bring a watermelon to work? What if his child's name was Watermelon? There's all.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Talking about one of the funniest stories I've heard in a long time. This firefighter brings a watermelon to work at Engine 55 in Detroit. White boy brings a watermelon. It's 90% black. The fire department in Detroit. And bada bing, bada boom, they dismiss him. Said it was racially motivated and so on and so forth. And I get it. I get the symbolism of the watermelon and how it invokes, I don't know, blackness. To me, it's Southern. It's an amazing fruit. I love watermelon. I love tomatoes. You know, tomato and watermelon, it's the same family. But tomato's a fruit. People think it's a veggie. It's a fruit. And I love them both. So if it brought a tomato, you know, I would have been just as unoffended as if he brought, a watermelon. As long as he brings salad dressing and a little lettuce, I'm good to go. But here's my watermelon story. I don't know if I've told you guys. Have I told you guys my watermelon story? If I have, it's been a long time, right? So years ago, there was a club. It was called Confetti in Dallas, and me and my best friend, everybody knew about Confetti. It was back in the clubbing days. So you would, go from club to club, and Confetti was a mixed club. It was, it was not too far from SMU where I went to college. And so a lot of mixture, college kids and city people, etc. So it was if you could get in, it was a big deal to say, yeah, I was in Confetti's last week or whatever. So Confetti got to the point where it wouldn't let black folks into the club. And I don't know, being honest with you, whether it was targeted blacks because, there was too many blacks starting to come to the club and it was getting a reputation. And being honest with you, that's not a reputation you wanted. You wanted exclusivity. You wanted, movers and shakers, but you had to really manage the crowd. That's what doormen do. They manage the crowd. One time I went to Confetti, just to put it in perspective. And it was funny. One of my buddies, who's a martial artist, was a bouncer there, but he was on the inside. The other bouncer, the doorman, was on the outside, and I had a goatee at the time. And I went there. I'm dressed nice and everything. He's like, "Nah, man, you can't get in." I go, "I can't get in." He goes, "Nah, man, you can't get in." I said, "Why?" He goes, "'Cause you got a goatee." And I went, "Really?" I go, "We're down to facial hair." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "All right." I said, "That's the only reason why I can't get in." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I run to Tom Thumb, which is a grocery store. I buy a disposable razor, and I shaved right there. And then he lets me in. And as soon as I walked in, the other guy, the bouncer, who's a martial arts friend of mine, I see him. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And we do the man chug and everything. And then he goes, "Good to see you." And I said, "Yeah, man, I barely got in." I said, "That dude made me shave," because he noticed that I had shaved. He's like, I was like, "Yeah, I just shaved." And he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, the dude wouldn't let me in." And so he goes and braces up the other bouncer and says, "Hey, what the heck's this, man? You're not letting my buddy in." Anyway, that's not the Confetti story. So me and my best friend, I'm just telling you, that's what happened with Confetti. And I know that, that was one of the issues. That he was like, "Okay, I'm going to check you and make sure you want to get in and all that." So fast forward a year or whatever, and Confetti had been sued because they were doing that type of behavior to blacks. And I'll be blunt, I understand why. There was a club not too far from Confetti that was mostly black. It was a shooting up there once a month. Maybe once every 2 months. So I get why people pass these rules and go, look, we're not getting involved in all this. So a year, they get sued, and we hadn't gone to Confetti in a long time. Maybe another year goes by. It's a couple years. And my best friend and I said, hey, I hear there's a really good happy hour at Confetti's. And he goes, you want to try? I was like, yeah, let's go up there, man. It's been 2 years. That lawsuit, all this. So we go up there. And I got to tell you, spectacular buffet. Spectacular. So we go in there, and I'm not kidding you. This food is like, it was like restaurant prepared. It was beautiful. It was not only delicious tasting, it was delicious looking, right? So we're going through this buffet, and you make your own tacos. They had enchiladas and all this stuff. And there at the very end, I'm not lying, is the juiciest, most red watermelon I've seen in decades. I haven't seen watermelon like that since I was at my great-grandfather's house in Welder, Texas. And I dropped the watermelon and split open, and I will never forget the level of red and the amount of sweet that was in that watermelon, man. It was amazing. So we go through the whole thing, and we completely avoid the watermelon. I don't get any. Mark doesn't get any. So I go sit down first because I've got all my condom. I've got all my stuff I'm going to eat. And then here comes Mark. And we don't say a word. We're just sitting down. We're kind of wondering, are they going to let us, if we're going to get to stay? Because we were really skeptical if we were going to get in. So we go sit down, and we're starting to eat our food. And about 5 minutes of awkward silence goes by. And finally I said to Mark, do you see that watermelon? And he says, yes. He goes, dude, it was all I could do to not get any of this watermelon. To get there. I said, man, we start cracking up because that was the juiciest looking watermelon. But we were determined. We thought Confetti has a camera on that watermelon and on us. So I get the whole stereotype thing, okay? I even lived it. But I'll tell you this. If I went to Confetti today and that watermelon was there, I would make a beeline for it because I've grown up since then. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about more about this firefighter because, see, I never got this memo. I knew there was a stigma attached to watermelon in a joking sense, but I never cared about it because I love watermelon. And like I said, I don't care if you bring me watermelon. In fact, guys, if y'all want to bring me some watermelon tomorrow, feel free. Just make sure it's juicy red, okay? So where does it end? If a dude had brought haggis, would it have offended the Scottish? And so I said, can the dude sue the fire station for not giving him a list of appropriate gifts? The dude who runs Engine 55 goes, you can bring whatever you want. Well, apparently you can't. You can't bring whatever you want. And look, let me tell you what, the black firefighters, they're going to be trying to go, hey, listen, I've been grieved at the job and I need to get grief counseling and take a few weeks off in order to recover. It's like they did with Michael Brown. When Michael Brown, the verdict came out and they told all those Columbia kids, y'all don't have to take your finals. Okay. So anyway, we made a list of what you shouldn't do if you're white and you're the first the white firefighter going to, and it's your rookie day and you're going in to meet the brothers. We just made a list of a few things that you shouldn't do. Feel free to add. Give us your call and let us know what you think you could add to this, 844-551-8255. But we said you probably shouldn't wear a JT shirt with a gold chain. What do you think? It's not a good idea. You probably shouldn't come in with your rap music blazing from Spotify. Okay? So here's another one. Maybe you shouldn't refer to your wife or your live-in lover or whatever as your baby mama or baby daddy if you happen to be a woman firefighter. Here's something else, the one that we came up with. You might not want to ponder, at least out loud, who shot Tupac or Biggie. A question not to ask your fellow brothers or sisters is if anybody DVR'd the episode of Empire last night. In case you know what Empire is, it's a black record company, black mogul. Oh, but for all, never do this. Never, ever, ever do this, white people. If you are around black folks, don't talk about your good credit. Okay? Just don't do it. You'll just offend people. What about this? Drive a Cadillac or a Lincoln pre-1980 or a Chrysler 300 today. Don't do it. Okay? Those are designated black vehicles. Do not touch them. You'll be in trouble. Don't ever talk about drinking Kool-Aid as a child. You can talk about drinking Kool-Aid as being brainwashed, but never talk about it as a child. And here's the number one thing that a white person should never do around his black coworkers, firefighter, Engine 55, or wherever. Never in your life declare that you didn't vote for Barack Obama. Don't do it. If you're asked, just tell them, I did. I did both times. Because anything less is going to be considered treason. You will be ostracized, if not fired, or you have to get re-educated.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. Having a lot of fun today. 844-551-8255 if you want to give us a call. I saw this story and it said that the Clinton staffer, former Clinton staffer, William Cohen, defense secretary, says he's embarrassed to watch President Trump's cabinet praise him. He says the president isn't acting very presidential by demanding that. Demanding it? He goes on to say this. It's embarrassing to watch. I look at that cabinet meeting where every official went around the circle praising the president as if he were a cult figure. So what did he do? Was it like Saddam Hussein? Did he hold a gun to their heads? You praise me or else. No. They're praising him because it's mutual admiration. Like I said, any body that practically that Donald Trump has picked would make a great commander-in-chief. I'm not saying I would vote for him. I'm just saying they're good people. There's not a person on Barack Obama's staff that I would trust with this government. Not one. But Donald Trump has people who are Democrats, who are accomplished people. I can't tell you I agree with everything, but I agree with their accomplishments, and I like his choices. I would prefer them over anybody I saw in the Obama administration. Anybody. Name me one competent person. Would you want Valerie Jarrett as president? Susan Rice. You obviously didn't want Hillary Clinton, right? You obviously didn't want John Kerry. They're two failed presidential candidates, and I could name others. But Donald Trump's named some people that you go, these are accomplished people. I don't know if they have aspirations to be president, but they'd be okay with me. But this guy, you know what's so funny about what Bill Cohen is, William Cohen, he is jealous of this. The adoration is only supposed to be on one side. You can only have blind adoration for Barack Obama or for Bill Clinton or for some leftist, even Jimmy Carter, for goodness sake. That's the only place. You cannot say, you know what, that Donald Trump's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. If you were a never Trumper or you were on the fence, then you're, oh, look at you with your blind adoration. I have a friend of mine. He's an independent. And you guys know my stance on Trump. He wasn't my first pick. I stayed out of the fray. I said, whoever gets the presidency, whoever it was, I'd support him. I hate to say it. If it had been Lindsey Graham, I'd support him. Would I support every single thing he does? Absolutely not. Lindsey Graham and I don't agree with that chick. Okay. But I'd support her. So with Trump, I don't agree with everything he's done, but I'll tell you this, most of what he's done is practically rock star status. So do I agree with him? Abso-freaking-lutely I do. And I support him. But I call my buddy, his radio show, and he's like, oh, here's Kevin. He's dyed in the wool, Donald Trump. No, I'm not. If Donald Trump screws up, I promise you, I will let you know. But here's what I tell people. When they give a preliminary report, Donald Trump, he's backing off on the nuclear deal. That doesn't mean anything. That is as fake news as it comes. If Donald Trump says, yeah, we're going to relook at the nuclear deal, he's not telling you, I'm going to go crazy and do what the left wants me to do on it. He's telling you, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it as to how it will best impact this country. And I'm going to make these people believe that they're getting a good deal. That's the job of a deal maker, is to finesse you. I talk about this all the time when I talk about salesmanship. The best sales guy will make you believe that it's your idea. So you come in to the store and he finds out about you. So, hey, what brings you in? Well, I'm just kind of looking around. You looking for anything in particular? He doesn't go, well, let me show you stereos if you're looking for a refrigerator. He goes, you looking for anything in particular? Yeah, I was thinking about looking at the refrigerators. He goes, well, good choice. He goes, hey, just out of curiosity, you live in a house, you live in an apartment? It's an apartment. So he knows, okay, you're not looking for something permanent per se. Well, if you live in an apartment, they would probably already have your refrigerator. But, the point is, he's going to figure out some things about you that guide him as to where things are. Then when he finally gets you in front of the refrigerators, to keep using my broken analogy, but when he finally gets you in front of the refrigerators, he's going to say, yeah, so, what are your thoughts about it? He's going to show you the features and things. And he's going to say, well, you've got these, Kevin, that have the double doors. And a lot of people like those because of this reason. You go, yeah, it's a really, that's that. Boy, I tell you, I love that, because you only have to open the one side. And, and then when it's all said and done, he's going to go, I like your concept of the double door refrigerator, the opening of the one side. Very good point. He's going to make you feel like you made the decision about it, because he took you there based on something you said, but then he wants you to own it. And that's smart. That's what Trump does. And so this idea that, he says it's embarrassing to watch. And then Cohen goes on to say this worship of the office, or seeking to reinforce a gratification experience by the president, I think it's certainly not consistent with what I've known and come to expect from a president. What is this fool? Look, I don't know what Clinton did. Clinton, probably one of those guys that just glad, hey, good to see you. I'm glad you guys are here. But I can tell you, if you don't think for one second that Barack Obama wanted nothing but complete and unfettered adoration for him, are you out of your mind? This dude was the biggest narcissist on the planet. He goes, Trump's cabinet went around the room in June praising Trump. Although he says noted Defense Secretary Jim Mattis seemed to avoid doing that at the time. To his credit, I saw Secretary Mattis indicate he was honored to be able to represent the men and women serving in the uniform. I thought that was the appropriate tone to take. Good for him. Yeah, good for him to be honored to serve. So look, I don't care if I was sitting with Donald Trump and I'd be like, you know what, President Trump, I got to tell you, I love the things that you're implementing. I'm sure we're going to disagree on policy from time to time, but I got to tell you, so far, I'm having a great time. What's wrong with that? Just imagine if the left were talking about Barack Obama in that vein. These suckers would be all, yeah, man, he's amazing. He was the best thing. I'm not going to go back and do the research, but I can guarantee you all they talked about was how glowing he was. I remember them fawning over what he was going to eat one day. Barack Obama had a hot dog, and you would think he had negotiated world peace. It was crazy how the media was all over it. He ate a hot dog. It was so fun to watch. I mean, God, he's amazing to watch. He's just so cool. God, people are strange. We'll be back, folks. Let's talk.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. This is the Kevin Jackson Show. Mike Ditka is under fire. That's right. He is. First of all, Ditka comes out and he says these guys shouldn't be taking a knee. He's old school, and you know my stance. I agree. You're gonna protest what? You're gonna protest all the opportunity that I've witnessed in my few decades on this earth, watching black folks excel. The only enemy of black people are black people. That's the truth. If you were to take all these guys that are kneeling and you say, put a gun to there and say, tell me the truth. Shh. Who's your real enemy? They'll go, my family, man. Don't shoot me, please. They'd be like Michael Bennett at the casino, ducking behind slot machines. Trying not to get hit. I'm too pretty. I make too much money. I don't want to get shot. That may be why they don't pay cops a lot. If you made a lot of money as a cop, you wouldn't want it. I mean, not that anybody wants to get shot, but you wouldn't run into harm's way knowing you just bought a new boat. Shoot. You just got that $500,000 house in the gated community, or in L.A., the $5 million house in the gated community. Well, $5 million may not even get you gated there. But yeah, Ditka's under fire. And it's funny, the left, they love to have somebody to go after. So Ditka's comment was, in case you missed it, and this happened unfortunately after the show yesterday, but he made this comment. He said, that blacks haven't seen oppression for 100 years or something like that. Now he means it as a figure of speech. He means like they haven't seen oppression in a long time, in decades, in millennia or whatever. Because he's in terms of the lifespan of things, blacks haven't seen oppression. Black people act like, oh my, swing low. It ain't no swing low. We haven't seen oppression. All the oppression is made up. Look, I'm just pulling the curtain back. Everybody, Kevin, why, man, you can't believe there are white folks listening to me right now that call themselves conservatives. Kevin, surely you can understand that there's been oppression. Yeah, when? Since when? What's the oppression? Oh, Kevin, can you go and sit in a counter where it says whites and blacks, whites here, blacks here? I haven't been to a restaurant in my many, many, many years on this planet. I know of it. I know that at some point there was a white water fountain and a black water fountain. I know of it. And it may have even existed when I was a baby. But by the time I had my formative years, man, most people didn't care about color. And I can guarantee you, by the time I was 30 years old, it was over. Let me put it this way. In the late 1980s, the 1990s, if you were still talking about race, you were a relic, a throwback. You might as well put on your old afro wig, your dashiki, your platform heels, and start dancing to the boogaloo, to disco, because you were a freak, practically a fraud. Nobody could believe anything. Whatever they're saying is happening, it's gone. It's been gone. It's long gone. And I don't need Barack Obama to prove it. I can prove it with many other things leading up to that. No segregation. You can live anywhere you want. There's no, jobs that blacks can't do. There's no government programs. In fact, being honest about it, blacks have gotten over in terms of what we could, in terms of what the government gave us in that period. And I'm not going to rationalize it one way or the other. If people think that was deserved and we needed it, okay, great. If some people say, you know what, we could have just done it on our own, it doesn't matter. But here's what I can tell you. We had every advantage and still have a lot of them. And you know what we've done as black folks? I'm not talking to you white people right now. As black folks, we squandered it. We completely squandered it. We wasted our chit on Barack Obama. When it was time to call in the chips, we went, send in Barack. He'll do it. He'll make us look good. And you know what Barack Obama did? He embarrassed us. He's a buffoon. He's a clown. He's a moron. And he essentially put these other morons on steroids, the Congressional Black Circus Clowns, the NAACP, all of them. He put them on steroids. Yeah, what y'all talking about? It's legit. Racial incidents in America. It don't matter that I'm president. I still see it. You see it out there. All you got to do, just go look. It's everywhere. Look at it. It's in education. It's in the movies. It's in jobs. Where are it in jobs? There's no discrimination in jobs. In fact, let me tell you why Jamel Hill hasn't been fired. ESPN. Very simple. ESPN hired a black chick, and they can't get rid of her now. This is why the people don't want to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. This is why HR directors are like, oh, and company owners are going, geez, do we have to hire this black person? That's why they do it. Because Jamel Hill, look, in 2008, this chick said of the Boston Celtics, now she's writing about this. She's a writer for ESPN at the time. She says that cheering for the Boston Celtics would be like making Hitler into a victim. Now, I don't know how sports somehow invoked Nazism and Hitler, but she managed to fit it in there. ESPN knew exactly in that moment what they hired. They hired her in like 2006 as a writer. She told them all about herself in that one statement. And what has she done since then? She's criticized Donald Trump for saying, respect the flag. What's wrong with that? If you boil it down to what Donald Trump said, and you just say, what did the man say? He said, respect the flag, respect the anthem, respect the country. Now, if Barack Obama said that, she wouldn't be mad at him saying it, but you know what? She would be mad at him saying, respect the country. She'd be mad at that, but she wouldn't say anything. She'd be like, it ain't like America's done a whole lot for black people, but our president has said this, so I'm going to do it. And if he had said, get off your knees, which he wouldn't have, then it would be cool. It would be okay. Everybody would go, well, the president, he asked us to get off our knees and let him handle things. We don't give the brother a chance. But why are you on your knees? Because you gave the brother a chance. There you go. See, it wasn't that hard. That wasn't that hard at all. It wasn't that hard. Yeah, come on. This is the stuff that bugs me about people. Man, this was a no-brainer. A no-brainer. Anyway, Ditka says we haven't seen that kind of oppression for 100 years. What are you talking about? Oh, hey, look at him, man. Let him go back to the 1917 and see what it was like to be a black man. That's not what he's talking about. They know that. And Ditka, God bless him. I hope he doesn't take it back. I hope he says, nobody signs my checks except Mike Ditka. And I hope he says, I don't give a crap what y'all think. You know what I meant. You're not oppressed. So stop acting like you're oppressed. Sick of it. And he should be. I'm sick of it. That's some dude, some black guy write to me, and talking about, I'm 50 years old. I've seen oppression and all this other stuff. And I was like, shut up. Shut your monkey head up. Nobody cares about your perceived ideas of oppression. Leave the city, fool. If the oppression is occurring, it's Democrats oppressing you. Go out in the country and meet some good rural folk that'll tell you, hey, what's going on? Have a beer with you. Want to have just a chit chat. Knucklehead.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. And you know what I pride myself on more than anything in terms of doing this show is really and truly having a research team that goes out and finds these stories that showcase leftism at its finest. And that's not very good. There's no good that comes out of leftism. It's sad to say. And so we find this story, and you've all heard about this, of course, these kids that die in cars. And I can't even imagine as a parent that and it's a tragedy, right? Because it does happen. I can't imagine a parent who legitimately leaves their kid in a car, hot car, for whatever reason, and forgets and then comes out and finds out that their kid has died. And that in the Texas heat, which is where I grew up, it wouldn't take very long. And I couldn't imagine how a person would feel because I know how hot it gets in the car. So I get all the tragedy of it. But what I don't understand is who does it. If you said to me, Kevin, a parent left their child in a car, leaves their child in the car 1 out of 1,000,000 times, I'd go, okay, it's believable. You're busy, you're rushed, something happens and, you do something and leaves the child in the car and the child dies. The car may survive, but the child dies. 1 in 1,000,000. That's one of those very rare circumstances of things. I think most of you would agree with me. That's pretty rare. The only way you don't leave your child in a car, is if you're a crackhead. If you leave your child in the car in the hot sun, is if you're a crackhead. Now, I've heard of women, who are single moms, got to run into the convenience store to pay a bill or run up to the cable company, whatever it may be. And so they will leave the car, child in the car running, and somebody takes off with the car. That happens. I've seen them leave people in the car and nothing happened. It's not a good tactic. It's not good. I wouldn't call it a process I would recommend all the time or at all, but I do understand it because single moms are struggling and they do things like that. Now, I will tell you, a responsible mother would never do it. And I get it. People go, well, the child was sleeping and I didn't want to wake them up because they had just got to sleep. Trust me. You take them out of the car. You go do what you do. Put them back in the seat. Start the car going again. They're going to go to sleep. So you're not going to make a rational discussion for me to go, oh, yeah, there's a reason why you didn't take your kid in. It was cold. It was this. It was that. I understand all. I got all the excuses. I raised 4 sons. I've been there. Mom's been there. You take the kid. Can't protect them from everything, but there are certain things you can. And I've seen, you've seen the stories where some guy carjacks a car. Somebody went out to go use not use the phone, but whatever. I'm dating myself now. And, somebody steals a car. Boop, boop. That's it. Kidnaps a kid. Not by accident, but, there you go. But this story, and even Bill Maher, and I can't stand this dude. He's a stooge, but he's right on this. And I want to play the clip of what he's talking about with respect to these idiots that want to pass legislation to deal with people leaving their kids in the car.
And finally, new rule, my dashboard doesn't need any more indicators. Is your seatbelt on? Are your tires inflated? Is your oil changed? Geez, if I wanted to be nagged this much, I'd get married. And right now in Washington, Democrats have introduced federal legislation requiring car manufacturers to install a motion sensor that would remind drivers that they left their kid in the back seat. Really. It's called the Hot Cars Act because turnaround dip was too on the nose. But if someone's too high to remember their kid, you think they're going to see a little yellow light? There were over 17 million new cars sold in America last year. Are we really going to require them all to install sensors, the cost of which will be passed on to the consumer, to prevent something less likely than being struck by lightning? And should reminding you not to forget your baby really be Toyota's problem?
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So it's one of those rare occasions where I believe I agree with Mar, but it's more that he agrees with me and agrees with us, right? We're the same people in these discussions. You know, practically every piece of legislation passed, everything that Democrats want to do, you know what they do? We could just save one life. And I went through all of this. If we could just save one life, except when it applies to the things that they want. So, for example, illegal immigration. You'd say, you know what? These illegals are killing people. If stopping illegal immigration would just save one life, it doesn't work with them, right? But that's what they use all the time. So Bill Maher is on to something here. He's saying, you know what? We're over legislating, guys. Look at all these indicators I have. There were probably, no exaggeration, 8 indicators. Check engine, check oil, check this, check that, whatever. It's like they don't want you to forget anything. You start your car, you head down the road. You know what happens now automatically? Your doors lock. Now, you go, well, that's kind of a cool feature. Sure, I could tell you it's a nice to have if you give a crap about it. I mean, I don't. I can lock my own door, but nope, automatic door lock. It's a convenience. It's kind of like when they take the money right out of your check so you don't have to, quote, pay your taxes when you choose to. It's a convenience. And then you know what you've done now over the years? You've been trained like a little seal. And you say, you know, you took a little more than you should have. Can I get that back in the form of me filing my taxes? And they go, sure. And so I love how people go, I just got a $5,000 refund. And I go, yeah, well, what could you have been doing with that money all year? You let the government hold $5,000 of yours, making money off of you. And what do you got to show for it? Nothing. But we're at a point now where leftists want you to believe that they're helping, and they are helping you into financial ruin. All of the things that are now on a car are, for the most part, they're now mandatory. So in other words, when a car manufacturer said, I'm going to put in an airbag, a seatbelt, everybody's, yeah, it's a good idea. A lot of people are, getting jostled around in the event of, just regular riding. So I'm going to put a seatbelt, and I'm only going to put it on your waist. I just need to keep you in your car. And somebody goes, that if you're in a big wreck, that seatbelt will cut you in half. You need to have a shoulder harness. So then they go, okay, well, we'll require that the seatbelt now, you reach over your shoulder, you pull it down, click it into the thing. Now you've got a shoulder harness and the midsection thing, right? And that's great. It's a better system. But should it be mandatory? No. Should it be that, if you don't want a great car, we could take a little bit of price out by not giving you that seatbelt. But no, now it's pretty standard to have that one. And I don't care. Makes the car a little safer, makes people a little safer. Put it in there. But then they say, well, it's not just the seatbelt. We also need this airbag. So now you got an airbag in there. I don't know what it cost. Probably a few $100s, maybe $1,000. And then if it deploys, it costs you money to get it reset, recalibrated, blah, blah, blah. So they're protecting you by putting this thing in your car that if it does deploy, it's going to cost you money. But they're protecting you. So the government always feigns that it's going to give you something that it really isn't. Now, let's go back to this child thing, the hot seat law, hot car law. Who is this for? How many of these deaths? I realize they're all high profile, but I want to make a point. They're high profile, but they're still very rare. I'm talking infinitesimally rare. I was going to come up with a new word. Infinitesimally rare. But they want to now add an indicator, add a sensor. So the car manufacturers have to go back and look at, all right, we got to have an indicator, and they put it in there and it costs you another $1,000 for something you will never use because you're not a crackhead. You're never going to need that. Only a crackhead parent would need something like that, but that's okay. The left are crackhead parents telling you need to be a crackhead parent. They can't make sense of it. That you would dare take your car out without a sensor. And what's interesting is when you look at these so-called, these things that get added to cars, over time they will become entitlements. They'll become mandatory. The car manufacturers are figuring out a way to make their cars safer, to make them run more efficiently, etc. And the government chimes in and acts like it's doing you a favor by taxing something else or mandating something else because that's what they do. I want to play the second half of this clip when we come back because it's even more telling. And it's sad that this is a state of America that we've gotten to where leftists want to tell, they want to micromanage down to the sensor in your car. What else do they want to know about you?
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Kevin Jackson Show is what you're listening to. You can get our podcast 24/7 on demand. Hope you do. KJRadio.com. You want to call the show? 844-551-8255. So we were talking about Bill Maher and comments he made about this new legislation called hot car legislation that's being proposed by Democrats who are responding to the crisis of people leaving their kids in hot cars and killing them dead. And the Democrats say, we need a law for this because it'll prevent that. Let me tell you something. You need a law for bad parents. How about that? How about a law that prevents people from having children? Even maybe, we could go as far as we want, right? How about you cannot have sex with a person until you've been through parenting classes or something? Why not? You got to get a fishing license, for goodness sakes. But you can have a baby with anybody you choose. And then what's funny, that's the rationalization that the left has for abortion. Well, look at these kids. They're going out, they're being reckless and doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Oh, you mean the ones that don't have good, what's that word? Wait a minute. I get it. Parents. That's it. Parents. Maybe it's because a lot of these kids don't have dads. See, here's what a dad says to his sons. Because I have 4 of them. And I've had the talk with 3 of them. And the talk was, you don't want to have children with somebody you don't want to be with. So until you've made that decision that this is the person you want to be with, you need to make sure that you are not doing things that would propagate children, that would make you guys have children. Promote it. Right? No offense, but I don't want to have a lot of different granddaughter, baby mama, granddaughter types, right? Or just significant others. Nor do I want to have grandbabies sprinkled all over the country. At the appropriate time, when I have grandbabies, I'd like for them to be with you and your family, and we're all visiting and, hanging together. But man, it's not the way it is today. I know people, y'all think I'm lying, but it's the truth. I know 30-year-old grandmothers. 30 years old. I don't know what the record is, but I know where it's been set. If it hasn't been set in the black community, I know where it's being challenged. Because, man, it's crazy to think. I'm not kidding you. When I saw a 30-year-old grandmother, the girl's like, I'm a grandmother. And she said it like with pride. 30-year-old grandma. Look, I get the timelines and all that are moved around. Back in the days when people lived to be 40, 30-year-old grandma was not unusual. But we're living longer. There are people I know that are into their 50s and they're not grandparents. Some of them are late into their 40s and they're not even parents. Because we're living longer. People are going, I got to figure things out, man. I'm stretching out that childhood a bit. Guy I know, he's a driver for a limo company. He drives me periodically. And he says, Kevin, I didn't get married till I was, I think he said 40 years old. Just had his baby. She's like 6. He's 47 or so. He's like, but I'm loving it. But he goes, I'm a bit old to be talking about more children. But, hey, I love my daughter. We're just in school. And I was like, good for you, man. He's like, and to be honest with you, I was reckless. I was young. I didn't want to. He was a pilot. It's like, women are a dime a dozen at that time. But he finally settled down. Good for him. Anyway, let's play this other Bill Maher clip because he goes on to talk about the left and how bad they are and why they can be, why we treat them, why we look at them like, look at you people. You people are crazy. Here's the reason.
Where does this stop? Chunks of toilet ice. Yes, I said it. Toilet ice. Fall out of the sky from airplanes all the time. That's going to kill some unlucky someday. Why not the Piss Ice Act, requiring all vehicle roofs to be reinforced to withstand a urine iceberg drop from 30,000 feet? Here in California, we make just about every business under the sun put up this sign that says, warning, detectable amounts of chemicals known to cause cancer may be found around this facility. No, we live in LA. It's called air. Honolulu recently banned looking at your phone while crossing the street. But wait, what if I'm getting an important message like that I've left my baby in a hot car? And here's where someone always says, but if it saves one life, you know what? You could put kids in bubble wrap all day and it would save some, but would it be worth it? We're never going to get this down to zero until we get rid of kids altogether. And I keep signing the petition, but it never happens. Until then, all this will accomplish is to feed into the Republican message that Democrats don't want to help people, they just want to micromanage their lives. It makes people hate us. It makes me hate us.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. And I think that was the most profound piece of it is that Bill Maher has figured out that he doesn't like who the Democrats are. He wants to pretend that this is like an anomaly. This is anecdotal. This is what they do, everybody. 844-551-8255 if you want to contact us. This is what Democrats do. They legislate from on high They don't look at we all understand the human tragedy of somebody leaving their kid in a hot car. Horrible thing to do. But who does that? Crackhead Democrats. Responsible Republican and conservative people take care of their kids. You are accountable to, you know where they are. You're looking at, you got like the iPhone app tied to them. You got them chipped. You got all kinds of things to keep up with your kids. You are good parents. You're not the ones sending them off to Hollywood so they can be molested like Corey and Corey. You're looking at everybody. Let me tell you something. My son, I don't care how good of a friend you are to me or whatever. I'd let you know, you do anything to my kid that he's going to talk. My kids are going to talk. They communicate with us. You do. If there's any impropriety whatsoever with my children, I will not involve the law. And I don't have to say that to my best friends because they know me and they know I can bring my kids to Kevin's house and they are as safe as his own. He can bring his kids to my house. They are as safe as if they're under his care. End of story. Now you're out there. Oh, Kevin, you can never know. You should see how things work at my house. Isn't going to happen. My sons, number one, if you bother my sons, be careful because they're going to hurt you. It's not going to be what you think. And they will already tell you, look, doesn't matter what you do to me, you are deader than disco when my dad's done with you. So it doesn't matter. But I want to go back to this legislation. Bill Maher recognizes that the idiot left are constantly legislating. That's what they do professionally. And he's saying, guys, you're giving these guys fodder. Look at our tax code and ask yourself, why does Donald Trump want to simplify it? You got your answer. You look at hot car legislation. It's all related. Look at what's in Obamacare. Ask yourself why we want to repeal it. It doesn't work. You want to know why? Because it's like hot car legislation. It applies to a very few who he claims it helps, and it isn't going to help. Let me ask you, do you honestly believe that a crackhead who's going to have a baby is going to have a car that has the latest and greatest gadgets? By the time a crackhead gets that car that would be the year 2020 model, it'll be 2040. That's when that person will have the car. And then the device that tracks the kid isn't even going to be working. Now, let me ask you this, and you know what comes next. Mandatory operational of this or that. I'll give you an example. The middle light that like maybe in your window, the rear view light, mine wasn't working on my car, but my other brake lights are working. They would not pass my car as an inspection on that because that light wasn't working. To get that bulb replaced was like $300. Now, you got to be kidding me because of the way they have to go into it. But they would not pass my car. I had to get that done. That's what's going to happen with this sensor.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson. Are you as excited as I am to be here? Seriously, you must be. You have to be because you're here. And I thank you for that. Hey, if you want to be have me be available to you 24/7 anytime you want on demand, like I'm part of your concubine, then go to kjradio.com and view to your heart's content. I gyrate like it's nobody's business over there when you're not looking. So you're going to want to check it out. Anyway, if you want to call the show, it's 844-551-8255. New affiliates coming on. New digital footprint guys are coming on. Big group. Lots of downloads we're expecting from these guys. So excited about it all. And we'll see what happens, you know. Hey, real quickly, I will be in hosting Fox News, one of the weekend hosts of Fox and Friends on November the 4th and the 5th. I'm going to ask that you guys watch during that time because we're going to have some fun. And we're going to see just how things, I've never done anything like that. So I'm excited to do it and see how it goes. Anyway, what I want to talk about this hour, I want to begin with football because I did a hit on the Cavuto talking about Jamil Hill. And this girl is a wacko. And, she's just looking for trouble. And I long for the day, and I bet I speak for many Americans, where we just watch sports. I used to like sports. And I tell you guys all the time, I don't remember when I stopped enjoying it, but I do remember that I did. It wasn't like the Twin Towers falling down or something, but it was one of those things where I just kind of went, you know what? I'm done. And I stopped. Now, when I say sports, I mean the sports we typically watch. Like, I watch some baseball, but I don't watch any football. I'm done with football. I rarely watch basketball. You know why I watch basketball? Because my youngest son is a sports fanatic. This kid could be doing play-by-play at this point. Bring up an athlete. Yeah, well, he plays for the Spurs and he was been on since 1993, Dad, or whatever. I'm like, how do you know? I mean, he studies this stuff. He's like a sports savant. And he knows it all. Knows their hitting records, how to shade them on baseball. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't shock me at all if this kid grows up and he's doing sports. Good for him. And he's a pretty good little athlete. So he's probably going to have a good frame of reference. But other than his just fascination with sports, particularly basketball and baseball, I don't watch it. And he knows a lot of football players, even though he finally told me the other day, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about playing football. And I go, well, stop thinking about it. You already have 3 sports. You're doing baseball, basketball, and karate. That's it. I'm not driving you a little behind all over creation. We're done. So he's like, oh. So, and as much as I loved football, my attitude is I don't have time for him to have an attitude that he's not the best guy on the football field. We just got him to where he can play decent basketball and decent baseball. No more coaches, no more nothing. In a week, this kid has more coaches than I've had in my entire life, up to his age. So it's not going to happen. We're just done. Anyway, I'm off kilter. So I want to start by talking about football in the sense of this whole protest thing and the ratings. You guys know I'm fascinated with the ratings. So Sunday wasn't very good. Thursday was horrible. I gave you the ratings on that. Sunday wasn't very good. We get the Monday Night Football ratings, and here's what they say. Snaring a 7.0 in metered market results, last night's Monday Night Football game was down double digits from last week's Kansas City 29-20 victory over the Redskins. Down 17% in the ratings. That's actually a regular season game low for the ESPN broadcast game and matches the I don't know what that is, result of the second game of the doubleheader Monday Night Football opener on September 11th. That comes a day after Sunday Night Football also hit a season low and its ratings down too. Now, they said a sliver of a silver lining can be found for the NFL and ESPN in that last night's game was up 11%. I guess they call it like in metered markets. Ratings from the 5th week matchup last year between Tampa and Carolina. So I don't know. They gave you a sliver of hope for the NFL, but it's bad. It's bad news. And the whole time when I was doing this Cavuto hit, they were saying, what's going to happen? When's it going to change? It's only going to change when the owners take a complete, when they do a 100% turnaround and say, if you stand, you're done. So the question was asked of me, well, Kevin, what do you think is going to happen if a couple of the really good players on the team don't do it? I said, nothing. If you're a smart owner, you say to those players, I've already talked to everybody in the league. You're blacklisted. You will not be hired. None of the owners. We stand in 100% solidarity. We'll hire you. I don't care if you are the best thing since sliced bread. You won't get a job. Now, you enjoy life as a car hop or go play baseball because you're going to lose your contract. And moreover, I'm going to sue you until I own every piece of you. Even when you get your little Freiburger flipping check, I'm going to own that. Now, that's what they need to be telling these people. Where else in your job can you impact somebody else's money negatively and nothing happen? Explain it to me. I'd love for you to go work at McDonald's, and when people come in, you yell at them, Black Lives Matter. All lives don't matter. And whatever. How long are you going to stay at that franchisee's restaurant? Or go anywhere. Name me where you can do this. Could you be the manager, the supermarket of a manager, or the grocery store, whatever? There's no place you can go where people will allow this type of behavior and there be no repercussions. And, for me, I am overjoyed to see these ratings. I could not be more happy with you folks out there who have abandoned football. I don't know what all I've heard is that football lost 2.5 million viewers in a week. 2.5 million. I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not a lot, but when you think about 300 plus million people in America, how many of those actually pay attention to football? 11 to 20 million, 30 million max, and you lose 2.5 million in a week. Whew, it's time to wake up, baby. Anyway, that's on the news. I don't know if there's more to cover about it. Here's what I will tell you. I'm going to predict it goes down again. I also predict the owners are going to have to start taking a tougher stance. Roger Goodell, if he doesn't step up and do what he should have done a long time ago, that's that. He could save the owners a lot of angst by saying, look, this came down from the league.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I hate to tell you guys, I don't hate to, that's just not true, that I'm right, because I am right. And I'm not bragging about that, but I'm right. I told you guys, the NFL thing with Trump, huge. People are like, Kevin, he shouldn't be taking a stance on this and all that. I told you guys, don't you let this, forget the myth of the left. This is bigger than you could possibly imagine. I said, let Trump be Trump. It will ferret out the rats. It will showcase leftism at its finest. You've seen people want him killed. You've seen people attacking him. You've seen the leftists, come out talking about these black people are oppressed, and everybody's looking at it going, who are you talking about? You're not talking about Ethiopians picking, stuff out of their eyes and with distended bellies. We're talking about multimillionaire players that have never experienced anything close to what the cops what they're talking about with these cops. And when they were experiencing it, they deserved it. I was talking to a dude the other day. I said, man, I'm from the hood. I grew up in the hood. When my uncle, I won't tell you what he was into, but I watched the cops beat my uncle up. And I'm telling you, to a person, I was a kid, to a person, every one of us went, he deserved that butt kicking. He's over there lipping off, trying to fight. They were just poof, 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 poof. Nobody jumped in to stop. Stop what? When you tell somebody, shut up and just go get your medicine, which is what my grandmother was saying to him, and he wouldn't do it, she walked away. Said, y'all do what you need to him. If he won't listen to his own mother, who's trying to save him, then whoop his butt. That was my grandmother's take on it. See, that was when people understood that if you're going to try to swing at a cop or whatever, you're lucky that you don't end up in prison, which my uncle did. He ended up in prison, but that's a whole other deal, too. He didn't end up in prison over that. So I've watched this kind of stuff. When somebody says to me, oh, Kevin, a black guy got arrested, I'm like, yeah, well, so what was he doing? What do you mean, what was he doing? He was selling drugs? What was he doing? Was he selling drugs? Was he trying to run prostitutes? Was he what? What was he doing? You're telling me he was innocent? I don't know very many cops that just roll up on totally innocent. Don't misunderstand me. If you're totally innocent and a cop says, excuse me, what are you doing out? I just came from the store. Oh, okay. Well, where are you headed? I'm heading home. Where else would I be headed? Okay. Well, can I see some ID? Absolutely, officer. Here. Boom. He shouldn't be able to ask you for ID. He can ask me for everything except, stuff that I don't know. I know what I know. Here's my license. Here's this. Here's that. I get it. You got to identify. I've told you guys about the time when the cop gave me a ticket and I didn't think I deserved it. But big deal. 99.9% of the times I've been stopped by cops, which is many times, and I don't know how I survived, but I did. Anyway, I digress. All I'm talking about is all these things that are occurring, they're huge, and don't downplay them. Don't allow them to be downplayed. Donald Trump has done more for capitalism. Every time I go on Fox Business and I'm asking Neil and Stewart and others, I'm saying, guys, I want to come on here. I want to talk to corporate America. And I want to tell corporate America, you're welcome. Because like Jesse Jackson has been tormenting you over the past few decades, I'm going to put you back on top. I'm going to tell your employees things like, you know what? If you stop focusing on the nonsense and the politics of the world and you start focusing on being the best company you can be, if you take pride in your work and pride in your coworker and you guys stick together regardless of race, creed, color, gender, ethnicity, etc., you're going to build an amazing company. It's as simple as that. If you think about innovation as much as your risk department has to think about all the things that you're potentially bringing in the form of lawsuits, imagine if that money went into employee programs. How much are you spending on risk, Mr. CFO? Just so you guys are aware, you spend, and I'd give them a number, $50 billion a year. No, it's not that much, but whatever, $50 million a year on risk. I'm not talking about shrinkage. I'm talking about potential for lawsuits, settlement of lawsuits, blah, blah, blah. If you could take a fraction, a big number, a chunk of that number and put it into put it into innovation, R&D, what's going to happen? You're going to be a better company. I want to talk to CEOs and CXOs and get into that circuit of telling them, you better stop with this PC nonsense. You better stop with these employee associations for women and gay women and this and that, black women, minority women, and whatever, midgets. You got to stop it. And you better stop it right now. Because the sooner you stop it, the better you're going to be, the faster you become the best company in your industry. Let those other guys fight that battle. They want to go out there and, I'm a winner. We don't have to. Look, be proud of your employees, all of them. When you find them, definitely tout your diversity, but don't tout it for the sake of, we have this many women and this many minorities, this many that. Tout it because somebody stepped forward. Let some woman come forward because she dreams of doing something big in your company. Let her do it. Encourage her to do it, but not through you're a woman. Do it because you're good. Prove it. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. All this was meant to tell you that that NFL thing was huge. It's going to save companies. And you know what else I told you was huge? I told you this Harvey Weinstein story was huge. I told you it's only the beginning. I told you this is a ripple effect through Hollywood that is going to create a rift that you're going to be able to time travel through. What are you talking about, time travel, Kevin? I'm talking about this dude was living like the 1950s Mad Men show. He's using women, and let me tell you why he was doing it. Harvey Weinstein was a fat Jewish kid, probably with bad skin, body odor, you name it. He was a slob. Nobody liked Harvey Weinstein. And I don't know whether his dad was rich or poor. I don't know how they grew up. He probably grew up in the typical Jewish family, which is a, whole family. His mom, I know his mom's name is Miriam and his dad's name is Max. That's how they started Miramax. So they start their production studio and they're doing some good. And I know Harvey's anti-cop. He's a total leftist. He's a secular Jew, not a practicing Jew. He doesn't care about Israel, the Jewish state. He doesn't even care about America. In fact, he's anti-American, if you really strike it down. And he's certainly anti-cop. So Harvey grew up, and I don't know what it is. Jews seem to have a talent for diamond cutting and making movies. Good for them. And a lot of comics. Funny people. And so they've got these talents and they put them together, but they don't put them together for the good of America. Because let's face it, I've got a lot of Jewish friends. They're kind of negative. Jewish mother's like, he's not married. It's like, what is he? You got to be like 100. You got to be 100 before you give me grandbabies. There's nothing you can do good for a Jewish mom. It just is an impossibility. Second only to an Italian mother. Why aren't you married? Come on, you're letting your good years go by. I mean, come on. So I don't know what the deal is, but this is where we are. These are huge stories. And I want to talk about these stories because I'm telling you, these are what's going to happen with Harvey Weinstein in the next few weeks will blow the lid off of Hollywood. You think, and it's going to be such an in-your-face affront to Hollywood. Trump is going to laugh at them. They even continue to bring up his comment in the locker room, and Trump was like, it's locker room, but you just wait.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. And I've done a bit of bragging. And the bragging is around the idea that these two big stories that seem like little bitty stories, and I completely disagreed. I had people writing to me about these stories, and I told them, I said, guys, I think I know what I'm talking about here. Trust me on this. These are big stories. And so I got a few more messages. Kevin, I'm not sure, whatever, but they are. So I want to go into the one of them, which has to do with this guy, Weinstein. Much more happening here. And before I even get into his stuff, I want to talk about Lisa Bloom, who was going to be his attorney. And things were so bad that Lisa Bloom said she left. She goes, I don't want to be a part of this. And she stopped. So I want to talk a little bit about her before I get into what I think are going to be the next steps for Harvey Weinstein. Because this is about to get seriously ugly for Hollywood and other leftists. And I don't know how far these tentacles go into this whole saga. So let's start with Lisa Bloom and what she said. They call her, this is from the Huffington Post, a high-profile attorney and former advisor to Harvey Weinstein had plans to discredit the women who accused the Hollywood mogul of sexual harassment. And this is according to the New York Times. Now, how scummy can you be that her approach was going to be that after he settled with 8 women, I'm going to grab these other ones that come out, Harvey, and we're going to blast them. We're going to just humiliate them. Does that remind you of anybody, Hillary Clinton? I'm just curious. I don't know if you remember anything about Hillary Clinton and all that, but, maybe you remember a story about Hillary Clinton. There's somebody that did something similar to Hillary Clinton. Does anybody come to mind? You guys got anybody? For some reason, I'm thinking Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton did identically the same thing to all of Bill Clinton's sexual harassment and rape accusers that Harvey Weinstein's attorney, Lisa Bloom, daughter to Gloria Allred, was going to do. Now, she ended up leaving, and I think they said something along the lines of she left because there was a conflict of interest between some business dealing they had. I don't know, could be. But let me tell you why Lisa Bloom left. Because I don't believe what they say. Because if I was doing an interview and they said, well, Kevin, Lisa Bloom left Harvey, because she had a conflict, I would say that's a lie. I'd say Lisa Bloom left because the strategy of telling all these women, trying to, make all of them look bad, was going to be insurmountable. There are so many women who now are going to come forward and let people know exactly what Harvey Weinstein did. There was no way she could keep the lid on this. With Cosby, it started out, I don't know, with a handful of women. Now it's 60. Now let's be honest. A lot of the people who are accusing Cosby of something are just, they're seeking money. But, and I don't know what Cosby did. I don't believe he's done this to 60 women, but if you believe it, great. But here's what I do believe. I believe Harvey Weinstein did this to not 60 women. I think he did it to 600 women. See, here's the deal with Cosby. Cosby had a couple of accusers and the list grew. He had a methodology, but there's not a bunch of people forward going, yeah, man, me and Bill hung out. Shoot, Bill dropped them ludes, man. He always, hey, I got them Quaaludes with me. Y'all want to mess around with some women? We'll give him some Quaaludes and some Jell-O pudding. No, so I don't know. There's not like a bunch of people. In Hollywood, everybody knows what Harvey did. Everybody. For them to play dumb now is the height of hypocrisy. George Clooney comes up. It's despicable behavior of Harvey. And Stephen Colbert, he commented, something like, well, it's a bad thing that Harvey did, but he used it to set up, but, it's still bad what Trump did. He can't even talk about Harvey in the context of Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Levin's the gay dude that does TMZ. Colbert can't make it without Trump. Did I tell you guys the late night talk show hosts, every one of them down? They're like the NFL, getting crushed. You know what that means? Now, I know I'm jumping off here just a little bit, but do you know what that means? That means Trump is not only taking care of the NFL in business, he's taking care of Hillary Clinton. He's taking care. I can just name you all these little things that he's done. He's also taking care of late night comedic hacks. That is a big part of entertainment. And what you're watching now with Harvey Weinstein is the second part of this. And this is about to get real. I'm loving this. See, this is bigger than think about this. I told you the other day, this took the Vegas shooting off the thing. And look, the Vegas shooting was pretty much milked as much as they can. Another left has gone crazy. Okay, woo, big deal, we know. And so, but they milked it for all they could. Gun control, gun control. You know what we need? We need Harvey Weinstein control. It's what we need. We need leftist Hollywood control. These people are scared. Think back for a second. I played you the Corey Feldman clip where Corey Feldman said the biggest problem in Hollywood for kids is pedophilia. He's also saying the biggest problem in Hollywood for women are Holly weirdos. The biggest problem in Hollywood for men are Holly weirdos. All of them end up on the casting couch or in somebody's backseat of their car or, what do they call it, spa or whatever, getting, boinked by some Holly weirdo fat cat who's calling the shots. They all do. You guys have heard me say this before. I'll say it again. DC, Hollywood for ugly people. And it's the one and the same. And the left put it together. They rolled it into one nasty, vile, piece of whatever and said, here we are. And now they're running scared. But why are they running scared? You think it's because of all the other young girls that are going to come through? They interviewed Steven Spielberg. He was doing a movie opening, a premiere, and they said, "Hey, Spielberg, what do you think about Harvey Weinstein?" I don't believe this is an appropriate place to make a comment about it. Hey, Steven, you got anything to hide? I'm not saying he does. I'm just asking the question. You think Steven Spielberg? How many Bergs and Steins are there in Hollywood that know about Harvey? Do you believe for 1 second that Steven Spielberg doesn't know about Harvey Weinstein? Do you think George Lucas doesn't know? Do you think I don't even know all the people making movies because it doesn't matter to me. Hollywood is a foreign land, a barren zone. I don't keep up with them. But I'll ask you this. It is infiltrated with guys whose names end in Berg and Stein and a host of other Jewish names. And if you think that they don't know what's going on in that little tight-knit community, you are a moron. They all know. And that's why Steven Spielberg didn't want to answer the question. Donald Trump answered it right away. When you heard about this thing with Stein, no surprise. No surprise. Donald Trump is in the know. And he just gave you the answer. He didn't mince words. He didn't equivocate. Well, as president, I shouldn't be answering questions of that nature. That's what Barack Obama would have said. You got the rumors always circulate all the time. People say things about people, but you look, you just got to let this play out. I got to go. Y'all take care. That's what he would have said. And people would have been, he's so presidential. Oh my gosh. Trump just told you like it is. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Trump's like, I'm not surprised. Let it blow up. Let it do what it do, baby, because that's what we've needed. So now people are scared. All these other casting directors. You think I keep asking, how many Harvey Weinsteins do you think exist? The only difference between the Harvey Weinsteins? Some of them don't make as much money as he does. It doesn't matter whether you're making B-League films. Well, let's go lower than that. It doesn't matter whether you're making porn or you're making the highest level Hollywood box office films. Your casting couch is open. And all that matters is the level of class, if you want to call it that, you want to step into. Do you just want to come off the street and be a street urchin? Go porn. Go hardcore porn. You want to go light porn? You want to go B-movie? You want to go medium budget? Or you want to go full-blown blockbuster movie? Because Harvey Weinstein, he wants to take you there. But you got to just put up with his debauchery. And how many people do you think did? And how many people did it because they were told, Harvey's a weirdo, go along with it. It'll get you where you want to go. How many of those people are out there telling their clients, hey, do what he asks you? When this all falls down, Hollywood is going to fold like a Hollywood stage chair because everybody knows what's going on. And and Hollywood has been insulated. I've talked about this. One of the only corporations in America that can openly discriminate. You're too black, you're too white, you're too ugly, you're too pretty, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too fat. I don't like your accent. Whatever. And you got no recourse. You've had no recourse for anything, and they get your tax dollars too, baby. The scariest part is coming up.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I have to tell you, when this Weinstein story broke, I knew it was a big deal, but I said to myself, we'll cover a few segments of this and it'll be done. And even though I knew it was a big deal, I just didn't think it was going to be radio worthy. And I'll tell you another thing. We wrote about it, and I thought, this is a really good story. And the reaction to people when we were wrote about it was pretty small. I mean, we gauge it by Google Plus hits and Facebook, retweets and shares and all that, and it didn't do very well. And I remember thinking, do people really get how big this is? But maybe we don't need to cover it. I don't know if it's going to end up in the news cycle very much, et cetera. And sure enough, boom, it starts gaining momentum. Now, the whole time, you guys have heard the show, I've been telling you, big deal, folks. This is not a little story. It'll grow legs, it'll get bigger, but I just didn't, I honestly thought when it got bigger, we talk about it. I didn't think it would be this kind of slow burn. And I've looked back over the past few shows and we've talked about it a lot. And I don't want you to think there's not other stuff going on. There's, a lot of things we could talk about, and we will talk about stuff. Judicial Watch is suing Obama and all kinds of stuff. But this is becoming a big deal as it unravels. And I'm starting to sound like, I feel like I'm sounding like Alex Jones. You wait till you see what I'm about to show. And I've never watched an Alex Jones episode, but I figure he's got to be like that. But no, seriously, this is a huge story. And here's why. Because I said Weinstein may be about to commit suicide with a bullet to the back of his head, shot twice. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people have the potential to get caught up in what's going on with this man. Hollywood is buzzing again. And this is about a New Yorker piece that's rumored to detail far worse and from more people. And here's what they said, an article. It said, absolutely, I'm positive that more women will come forward. That I am not alone. It was kind of a horrible kept secret in Hollywood that he had this type of behavior. And this was from that girl. I played her clip the other day. Her name is Lauren Sivan. She's a former Fox News reporter. She was on Megyn Kelly's show. She says, people would whisper about it all the time. She says, before too long, we're going to be talking about more than just Harvey Weinstein. That's what I'm telling you, folks. That's where this is going to get interesting. This article says the same whisper network that allowed an entire industry to know about Weinstein's vile abuses for years carries other names. Some are bigger names than Weinstein. Powerful, popular men whose prominence requires no explanation outside of Hollywood. Some names are on Weinstein's level, some are lesser known. All of them work in the business whose gatekeepers have been using their powers as levers to ply sex from the less powerful since time immemorial. Now, I was telling you guys, this is the same thing I feel about college professors. You send your kids to college, and the people who hold their futures in their hands are the most lecherous people on the planet. They're just like the Weinsteins of the world. Don't be fooled, folks. And this is why I tell you, you got to be very careful with leftists. Anyway, here's this thing goes on to say this. All of them work in the business whose gatekeepers have been using power as levers to apply sex from less powerful since time immemorial. The casting couch is a shabby, repulsive cliche, but it also carries a kernel of truth. Those gatekeepers are sometimes moguls, but they're also directors, agents, financiers, screenwriters, even journalists. So I'm just telling you, when you wonder how the media is in cabal with the Clintons, is in cabal with the Democrat Party, is in cabal with Hollywood and so on and so forth, you're looking at it. This article goes on to say this. Yes, the very profession that moved Weinstein from open secret to bombshell report has its share of names on the Whisper Network too. Some have very recently fallen. Others are still operating out there, openly tweeting about the Weinstein story, maybe even working on it in some capacity. Getting those names out into the open is no easy feat. It requires a little luck and at least one enormously courageous person. I want you to think about the whistleblowers that have come during the time of Obama that have exposed Lois Lerner. They exposed Hillary Clinton and the lie of the video and Benghazi and the drug running and the VA and Eric Snowden and others. I want you to think about them. And where are they? These people that have disappeared, you can't get anything out of them, or they've run from the country. This has been long overdue. And they said the New York Times expose was a high-risk, high degree of difficulty journalistic maneuver that required two key elements to be put to print. An internal document which was clearly leaked from within the Weinstein Company, and at least one high-profile accuser willing to go on the record. In this case, the actress Ashley Judd. Now, I've given Judd grief because she knows that this is something that should have been exposed years ago, but she didn't have the guts. I think we talked about this in 2014 or 2004, maybe. Yeah, 2004. They tried to expose Weinstein at the time, and nobody would do anything. Matt Damon, Russell Crowe stood up for him, vouched for the guy. He was already 2 decades fully into this nonsense. They go on to say this: take away one of these elements, and the rest of the story stays just whispers. This is stuff you can't say on a page without those elements. And even if you do have them, you risk destructive litigation and painful profession and social fallout. Weinstein may have since been fired from the company he co-founded, but he vowed to sue the Times and seems bent on leveraging every relationship he still has to make a comeback, to mount a comeback. Janice Min, you're going to love this, what I read to you in a second. A venerable former editor of The Hollywood Reporter tweeted a transcript of the letter Weinstein purportedly sent to his powerful friends as he was scrambling to save his place in the industry. And I want to read this letter. This is amazing. So here's what he wrote. My board is thinking of firing me. All I'm asking is let me take a leave of absence and get into heavy therapy and counseling. Whether it be in a facility or somewhere else, allow me to resurrect myself with a second chance. A lot of the allegations are false, as you know, but given therapy and counseling as other people have done, I think I'll be able to get there. I mean, that in and of itself tells you all about this monster. A lot of the allegations are false, as you know, but giving counseling, did he mean true? No, he meant false. He goes on, I could really use your support or just your honesty if you can't support me. He's wanting to know who's still going to be my friend because he's effectively making a veiled threat. In my opinion, that's what he's doing. What do you mean? Why do you give people a choice? Of course I have a choice if I support you or don't. If I don't, I don't respond. If I do, I respond. Just let me know if you don't support me. Says nobody that wants your support ever. You send out a letter that says, hey, look, everybody, I'm about to go do blankety blank. I'm going on a trip to such and such to help needy people. I'd love to have your support. You can make your donations here. You want to know how you know they support you? Go look at the donation chart. If they didn't donate, they don't support you. But he goes on to say this. But if you can, I need you to send a letter to my private Gmail address. The letter would only go to the board and no one else. We believe what the board is trying to do is not only wrong, but but might be illegal and would destroy the company. If you could write this letter backing me, getting me the help and time away I need, and also stating your opposition to the board firing me, it would help me a lot. I am desperate for your help. Just give me the time to have therapy. Do not let me be fired. If the industry supports me, that is all I need. That I believe he wrote. Desperate Hollywood CEOs and moguls, hours before he got fired, he's begging people, please help. If I could just save my place here, I can go back to all those accolades and I could be what people want me to be. I could be what they thought I was. You know, what the perception is. We can go back to square one, guys. Don't do it. Now, the question is he going to say, or else? Because I bet you Weinstein knows where a few bones are buried. You better know, if people know what this guy's doing, they're like, Harvey's a freak. I'll go check out. Hey, Harvey, I got a young one you might want to check out. Really? What'd she look like? Yeah, have her come to my party. Hey, have her on my jet. Well, I'll have her go to Paris with me. I mean, that's what they do. Folks, this is about to get ugly for Hollywood and ugly for the left. And people behind the scenes are scrambling. This is like WikiLeaks was to Hillary Clinton and all the stuff that Julian Assange found out. Only, I think it's going to be far worse. They don't have the protection of Obama.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.